What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode number 47. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Pretty good, Josh. Tell me a story.
So, the thing that I was about to tell you, it's not even that good. Like, it's not even... I saved this for the podcast, and you're going to be like, why?
Hey, that's the gambit we run, I guess.
It is, yeah. So, we have a Portillo's near us. We got it for dinner tonight. Are you familiar with Portillo's as a chain?
It sounds familiar. It sounds like it's unrivaled Chicago street food.
Yeah, so they do like hot dogs and chili dogs and like Italian beef sandwiches and stuff like that. I think overall Portillo's is pretty mid, personally, but a lot of people love it and swear by it. And it's one of those like, if you go to Chicago, you got to get Portillo's. Like that's like a thing people say and think.
Gotcha.
So I don't agree with those people, but it's good once in a while. And we had it tonight, and they were selling, they were selling Dr. Pepper milkshakes. Which, in and of itself, I thought sounded pretty good. A Dr. Pepper milkshake. It's like you know?
Yeah, it basically sounds like a dirty Dr. Pepper or like any dirty soda at this point, which added cream to it. And it's funny you said that because a local ice cream place nearby me has Dr. Pepper floats now, which is effectively the same thing. Just whatever the fancy word is for when, like, if you take a burger apart and just serve it piece by piece.
Deconstructed.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so basically like a root beer ice cream float is just a deconstructed milkshake. But
yes, that's true,
yeah. But I almost got one because I love Dr. Pepper, all 27 flavors that are in there, or 23, whatever it comes out to, known as. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big I'm a big fan of the soda and the diet soda version. And yeah, I like Dr. Pepper floats like you're talking about as well. Like I've had those before and they're good. So they have this Dr. Pepper shake, and I'm like, oh, I'll get that. And then I noticed they also have a Dr. Pepper cake shake. So they take Dr. Pepper and chocolate cake and mix it together for this shake. And I'm like, well, if I'm gonna get one, I gotta get the Dr. Pepper cake shake. That's gotta be great. If I'm gonna get
something disgusting, I might as well just max it out.
And let me tell you, disgusting it was, Toby. I have a pretty high bar for, like, I can get through most foods even if they're not my favorite, and I could not finish this shake. It highlights none of the Dr. Pepper flavors except for the cinnamon, so that it's like sweet kind of cinnamony taste mixed with like sweet chocolatey taste, and it is the most off-putting combination of flavors I think I've had in a long time. It was so weird.
Like how thick was this beverage?
Kind of like a in between a shake and a malt, I would say. It was not so thick that it wouldn't come up through the straw, but like certainly a little bit thicker than probably your average milkshake.
I think drinking liquidized thick cake would throw me off more than anything. So I don't know that would have mattered what I mixed it with. I think in my brain I would have went, this is like blended cake, and that would have really thrown me for a loop.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, so my wife got the regular chocolate cake shake, so no Dr. Pepper, and hers was much more palatable. It tasted more just like you got a chocolate shake that had like kind of chunks in it a little bit, but not like terrible. Like you could tell it had texture, I guess, to it, more than just a regular chocolate shake. But yeah, there's some evil, horrible combination happening in the Dr. Pepper cake shake because there's voodoo happening. That's all I can say. There's something going really wrong in that cup.
Your Dr. Pepper cake shake reminded me of when I was in college. Before I'm going to do my usual old man times thing. So when I was in college, like the most exciting websites usually inevitably were like someone had their own like live journal or blog, and it was really just lots of writing and pictures because like video streaming was not really a thing at that point, blah, blah, blah. So someone, I don't remember what website it was. I'd have to, if I thought about it, I could get there. But I used to do like weird food reviews of like, I got the Hungry Man 2,000 calories, the whole meal in a day thing. And for some reason, reading the blog all the time made me want to go. Made me want to go do weird things and take photos and basically do the shit that I would do on YouTube now, just 20 years ago, and photos and journalism only. And at one point, I was like, I have a good idea. I'm gonna eat everything that's on the McDonald's menu, but I'm gonna put it in a blender instead of actually just eating it.
Oh
So
my
the
god.
McDonald's menu was not crazy back then. It might have just been the dollar menu, which was still $1, but I think it came up to like 10 items. So like a burger, a French fries. I think there was a pie involved, a drink, so obviously some liquid, milkshake, and some other random little things. So I eventually put them all in the blender. I had to put enough liquid in to make like French fries and burger turn into drink,
My god.
and the smell of it warmed up from the blender spinning
Oh.
basically smelled like hot trash, like
Oh.
actual hot garbage. And I managed to get a swig of it down, and I threw up immediately.
Yeah.
So-
I'm having like a visceral reaction just hearing about that. Like my stomach was turning. You
that's
talking about
awesome.
that. That's crazy. Just yeah, hot trash is exactly what I would expect that to smell like.
Yeah, and I don't know what combination of the foods made it do that, but I bet you my hot trash McDonald's milkshake was probably worse than the Dr. Pepper and cake one.
Yeah, I would say a horrible nightmare concoction that you made in the vein of like a saw trap. Yes, that probably is worse than my milkshake as delivered.
Yeah, so it was that one, and then at one point to go with the weird stuff, there was also I think they still have them now. Hungry Man made they were breakfast plates, but they're called like they're less when the for like the XL one started, but they were called like all day meals. And basically, I think like one was 2,700 calories, and it was like whatever fake eggs they used, pancakes, and like two other breakfasty kind of things. I could probably look it up if I had to. But I was like, I'm gonna make two of them, and we're gonna tape this and take pictures, whatever. Because I'm even now, I'm always the one that inevitably volunteers to do things, or just ends up being the one that's voluntold to do things because I don't really care. And like, it was mainly okay at first, but the eggs were basically like rehydrated eggs to the
Yeah.
point where I made like a baseball out of them and just squeezed the shit out of them, and they just like poured liquid out. So I was like, these probably really can't be good. And inevitably, this turned into another thing where I ate enough where I threw up. But I distinctly remember that like the first part of me throwing up was okay and felt normal. And then like the baseball that formed in my stomach of the eggs was so solid coming up that sounded like I literally threw a baseball against the bottom of the trash can.
Jesus Christ.
It literally came out in such like a thud. And I can still picture my friend's apartment. I can still picture where the trash can was. I can still hear the sound in my head, like 20 years later, of like the normal puke noise, and then like me throwing the baseball against the ground. But yeah, that was my childhood. I've been crazy forever.
I genuinely hope no one was trying to eat when they listened to the first 10 minutes of this podcast.
I hope they were. I hope this is like people's like dinner time thing. Someone's got a nice like Wendy's or McDonald's or something, and they're like, I'm gonna have a nice dinner and just listen to these two idiots talk. Hopefully Toby doesn't tell me poop stories today. And they sound like they were in the clear at first. They had Dr. Pepper to wash their stuff down, and now here we are.
It takes a horrible turn. Yeah. I will often like listen to a podcast while I eat. And if I remember right, it was one of the recent Yard episodes I listened to. They talk about getting poop in your mouth in the first like 10 minutes of that show as well. And I was eating during it. So I guess I'm just now inflicting that violence onto other people, I suppose.
I feel like they toned down the breakfast. So the ones that they have now are only like 1,200 calories. So I think they got rid of the old OG good ones.
Yeah.
But I was always impressed because it's like 60 grams of fat, 20 grams of saturated fat, like 2,000 milligrams of sodium, 125 carbs, and 30 grams of protein. And I was like, I'm going to eat two of these. That's definitely going to be my solution for the day.
That's crazy. Yeah, if you just need like if you're just looking for like the cheapest possible way to get caloric intake, that was probably pretty high on the list, you know? Like That is caloric dense for probably whatever the price was for that meal.
Yeah. And it was actually like a good diet plan because it all came back out.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I definitely have a hate relationship with those eggs in those like microwave dinners because yeah, they're always like that. It's always like this weird rehydrated egg situation, and they're never quite like real eggs. Like they're always just a little off. And it's usually not worth it. It's usually good to avoid the egg based ones, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And I don't even remember it might have been just from eating them normally where I was like, these don't taste right. And then that was when I started putting the pieces together of well, this probably isn't like eggs. And then that's how I got to squeezing the water out of them and making them into a baseball.
Do you like egg beaters? Have you ever had an egg beater?
I would assume I have I've never bought them by choice, but I would assume either breakfast buffets at hotels
Yeah.
or those kind of things. I'm assuming that any mid-tier place is not cracking eggs by the dozens, that they're just
Right.
egg beaters kind of thing.
So I can stomach those now. Like they're not my favorite, but I could get through them. But when I was a kid, my mom would get them, and they would literally make me gag. Like when I would try to eat them, there was something about the texture or something that I would literally just gag and almost throw up every time. And she bought a lot of egg beaters post me trying to throw up every time I tried them. Like you think she would have taken that hint way sooner, but no, we tried to power through on that for a long time, but it never quite worked out. So I'm realizing now I've had a complicated relationship with eggs for most of my life, apparently.
Now we learned. So
Now we
yeah,
learned.
I helped you unlock a core food aversion or something.
There we go. It's Dr. Pepper cake shakes and eggs. Those are my two. Well, so people are here to hear us talk about Kamen Riders. Let's jump into some Kamen Rider talk, shall we?
Speaking of egg shakes, let's absolutely talk about Kamen Rider.
Ooh, we're gonna get some egg shakes next season because it's all gonna be egg themed. We're gonna crack open our mouse eggs, and Dr. Pepper's gonna fall out. It's gonna be great.
That's that's the weirdest timeline, but yeah, let's go.
But yes, until then we have Zeztz still, and we're on episode 47 of Zeztz. And this was kind of a direct follow up of last week's episode. The big cliffhanger, of course, last week being that Nox had seemingly sacrificed himself. Like he jumped into the black
the dark
hole.
void.
Exactly. With the the Phantom Gore nightmare. They'd went in there together. So come to find out this time around, he didn't die. That happened in the dream world. So now he is asleep. He was just asleep in an alley is where Baku finds him in the opening of this show. And
the darkness swirling in and out of him because
yes.
of all the evilness and the dreams and everything else. And
yes, indeed. So Baku brings him home, and yes, he has some swirling darkness. He's out of it. He gets put in Baku's bed, and we eventually they kind of insinuate that he is forcing himself to stay asleep as a means of keeping the nightmare secure. Is that how you read that as well?
Yeah, somehow as long as he kept the Phantom in the dreams, that was the only way that Baku had a chance to actually fight her versus being in the real world and doing his Kamen Rider-y things now. So basically Nox self-comed himself through mental fortitude, I guess, of I'm gonna keep everybody asleep so that my buddy Baku has a chance when he comes to visit me.
Which is really awesome. That is a good next step for Nox's story. He's been so determined the whole show. He finally joins the team, a kind of officially, and his very first act being a team member is sacrificing himself for the greater good. It's very on brand. Yeah.
I mean, instead of having a true buildup of his hero's story, and then he's been a good guy the whole time, and then basically self-sacrificed. This was, hey, I kind of fucked around for 47 episodes. I just gotta do what I gotta do now. Just instantly tanked himself and was I'll just stay asleep. You do all your good stuff.
I guess even more than the selflessness of it, I think it's very Nox that he would look at he wouldn't see any other way out of a thing other than all or nothing, right? Like I have to do this, like I has to be me. I have to give everything up for this. Feels like his like ethos throughout the whole show, right? Like I have to take down Code no matter what else happens.
Yeah.
This would be, I have to take down the Nightmare no matter what else. Feels quite on brand, which is yeah, cool. I like he's been a very unconventional, secondary writer throughout the show, but I've really liked his weird arc that we've gotten.
I mean, I think we kind of talked about last week too. I think out of all of the secondaries, I think the question we had in the emails was which one was the best. And not that Knox is the best or not necessarily, or not like rating that again. But I definitely think he had like the most dramatic arc of any secondary,
Yeah.
or like the most push and pull of his entire story as we went through the stuff.
Yeah, 100% agree. And certainly like a really, really good, I don't know if it's the best of what we've seen so far, but like certainly a really good continual arc throughout the whole show. Like he's had pretty much a main focus and a main driving force, and we've just been kind of slowly building that over time. Where, a long show that lasts a full year, characters might have different motivations throughout the show and stuff like that. But yeah, he's been pretty single-minded through it, which has been cool to see too. So yeah, I think a real winner of a secondary writer for sure. Nem, of course, now is awake in the real world, and she is with Baku. And here we see very quickly Baku heading back into the dream world. So Nem kind of snuggles up on the couch, pulls the blanket up, and Baku heads back into the dreams by just falling backwards onto the ground, as he is wont to do now. This particular shot of him falling backwards, though, was a little more janky than normal. I don't know if you noticed, but like if he very clearly falls onto a crash pad and they like freeze frame and then just kind of like he goes from there. They sort of like then transform his frozen image down into the hole.
It wasn't even like necessarily that like that part looked a little off. And then later I feel like they never showed it before, and I might have completely misread the scene. I feel like when Minami and
Nem?
other girl, Nem, thank you. I don't know why I drew a blank there. Like when Minami and Nem are talking, there's like a door on the floor now where I feel like that's where Baku fell through. And I was curious, like I don't remember ever seeing that before, unless they just never like shot it that way. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, I wonder if he was trying to avoid the door, or if they had to do something weird with how he fell because there's a door on the floor now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the door was weird to like reveal that in that scene. I did think that as well. And yeah, who knows what they were doing on the shooting it. A lot of times his like fall backwards into the dream has looked really cool in this show so far. Like the ones where they kind of do it from the side and he kind of falls through and you get to see him continue on kind of past the ground is really, really well done. This one was funny looking. Clearly he hit something because his hair flops, and even in this, like you get to see the moment where his hair shakes from where he hit the ground. So I thought that was just a funny little scene. Ultimately, it still works. It was just a funny way to film it. But speaking of him going into the dream world like that, one of the sort of plot points, one of the reveals in this episode is they're making a big focus on like Baku getting confused about what is the dream world and what's the real world. We obviously saw that previously where he was dressed up all secret agent style, but it was the real world and he didn't know. So they're clearly hinting towards him losing touch with reality a little bit, I think, in the last 3 episodes here.
If not so much, I guess like if not so much him, I feel like specifically when Nem and Minami are talking again, where they kind of give each other these looks of like, I think Baku's kind of losing his shit, where like he doesn't really know when he's awake, when he's asleep. Why am I an agent? Why am I an agent while I'm awake? Like it's definitely like you said, the worlds have blurred. He's as confused as we get, even though it's supposed to make sense. Some people would say it makes sense that that Baku can keep track of where he is in time. So I guess we should be able to too.
But he clearly can't.
Yeah.
So
we're
off the hook.
Yeah.
I really like that as an angle coming into the kind of final episodes here. Like that's a cool, man versus self struggle to throw into the mix. where he's kind of losing touch with what's going on and what's real and what's not. Because yeah, that like you said, really represents sort of how the show has kind of progressed, where the lines between dream and real has been blurred so much that it's very fitting.
Yeah, and no matter what, like I do think it's cool, like in the world or the storyline of the kid was only good enough in his dreams to be the person that he wanted to be. It's kind of cool and fun that like his final solution for that is just his brain is so fucked at this point that he can be a hero not in his dreams because he doesn't even recognize when he's not dreaming anymore, kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, the two halves of him have converged to such a point that yeah, he can't tell the difference now. And we certainly see that in how he behaves. Like I talked about it a little bit last episode. And it's clearly a choice they're making that he's behaving much more like the secret agent version of himself in the real world now, even when he's in his real world clothes and stuff. Like
Yeah.
him riding up to find Knox at the very beginning of the episode where he gets off the motorcycle. Dude's got some swagger now. Like he clearly is hot shit and he knows it. So
He's the agent. He was the agent he wanted to be.
yeah, 100%. So that clearly, I criticized it last time, but now having another episode under my belt, that clearly is the story they're trying to tell, and it's not just sort of an accidental characterization like I thought it might be last time. So, yeah, I like that now. That seems like it's intentional. I'm on board with it. Baku sends out some anonymous notes. He's trying to lure Fujimi and Nazca and Minami, his sister, to the command closet ultimately, so that we can use the little dream capsim on them and restore them back to their regular selves. I thought it was very funny that his little anonymous creepy stalker notes included a helpful map in everyone's case.
I mean, he definitely wanted where they were supposed to go, so he made sure they got there.
Yeah.
With that scene, I thought it was crazy. Like first, Minami scares the cops, so she gets a gun pulled on her because, of course, like you're hiding in dark corners, even though it's bright out. Like, sure, it seems like a good way to get snuck up on, and it gave me a weird moment of like realization or thought process or whatever. I feel like a constant thing in media is always like cops or people with weapons saying, just stick close to me and we can go inside. Like, don't worry about it. But I feel like if shit was really popping off, like even if you were like, if you're rushing in with the cops and people wanted to shoot at the people rushing in at them, like you're no safer being with the cops, not with the cops, like sticking close, like probably just makes you more of a target.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the real answer would be like, you go the opposite direction. I'm going to run in. You run the other way.
Yeah. If anything, be like, stay outside. Like, stay outside or stay out of the way would make the most sense. But like, hey, just come inside with me, but just stand next to me. Like, don't go in front, but like next to or behind, whatever. That's all safe. Don't worry about it.
That is such a television cop trope that you see all the time. Now that you mentioned that, I've never considered it before. But yeah, that is a 100% unrealistic thing.
Yeah. So it was just funny because especially in like, I know they're in a world where like there's crazy monsters, but like the monsters don't usually attack just the plain humans kind of deal, or like not the main crux of people humans, but a world where like magic shadows can pop up from the ground and like stab you. Like remotely being close to people with guns that would draw like aggro, it just seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. 100% agree. Once everyone gets their memories back, Fujimi needs to wake up, and I thought it was very funny. He like bends over so that Nazca can kick him awake. That was a real fun scene.
Yep, absolutely my favorite moment because of all the times that he gets the kicks, he never actually wants them. And this one time where he's like, "Just kick me, it's cool. I'll wake up, I'm sure." She just kind of stares at him like, "I don't know about this." So it's just extra funny to me that like unprompted, she'll beat the shit out of him. And the one time he's like, "Just kick me in the back, it's good for me." She's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. We're not. Don't worry about it. We're good."
Yeah, she puts on like, I would never, like when she's thinking about it, like, you kick this guy all the time. Just to kick him. He's asking for it now. Just kick him. So yeah, he wakes up, he wakes her off, and they rush off to search for clues to find Knox. they then we get the scene with Minami and Nem that we've already talked about, where they kind of talk about Baku's losing touch with reality. And meanwhile, Baku tracks down the Oblivion Gore nightmare. And it's really this kind of like solitary fight between the two of them. No one else is around or even really knows it's happening. And I would say the highlight of this fight is that we get to do a quick run through of all the like old Capsum
Yep,
abilities.
all the history of
Yeah.
all the oldest costumes and stuff. That was definitely one of my fun moments of that too. And then that made me think about, so like the main part of this week's fight with Baku was he gets his ass kicked. Like he had glide, and then the Phantom ripped the wings off, so it didn't work anymore.
Yep.
And every time he switched forms, he seemed like randomly rejuvenated, and it made me think of like, does Kamen Rider suiting kind of work like a video game where when you change forms, it like resets your health and you go back to normal? Because basically, like Baku didn't seem like down and defeated until he ran out of forms to change between. More
Yeah.
so than like suit per suit actually getting beat up in the suits.
Yeah, I think they never that I'm aware of ever explained it that way, but I think especially in Zets with it being like dream world based, that 100% like checks out. It seems exactly like what they go for. Like you can run through all your cool capsums, and then when you're out is when you start taking damage for reals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely what it seems like.
But yeah, certainly fun to see all those old forms. Getting the wings ripped off, as you mentioned, was awesome. Like that was such a cool visual. And then the Oblivion Gore Nightmare just like tosses him to the side in a very funny way. So that was pretty cool. It was cool to see like the shield back in and stuff. Kind of neat to see all the old forms power through. But Baku, yeah, kind of gets beaten up basically. Nem eventually does show up to kind of help, I guess. She kind of tracks them down, and as soon as she shows up, the Oblivion Gore Nightmare kind of starts taunting her. Says that she was never meant to exist, and of course, like because she believes that internally as well. That is sort of where the Oblivion Gore Nightmare is getting its powers. Like her self doubt about how she shouldn't exist in the first place makes the nightmare grow stronger and makes the nightmare continue to erase things. So he's really preying on the insecurities that Nem has because of her birth. So really culminates in her kind of screaming like, like I shouldn't have ever been born or whatever.
Her self hatred is her greatest nightmare, just like all of us.
Yep, exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's cool how you know, her feelings of herself are like literally world shattering for them because it's all the dream world based stuff. So it's been a good metaphor as her dream world starts disappearing as she believes further and further that she should never have been born. That's a cute little bow you can put it all together with.
And maybe in my own stupidity or like media illiteracy or whatever, I'm glad, like I feel like this time specifically they finally nailed down of the part of like how is like Sieg and like all of them always said like, oh, like you don't know who I am, you don't realize what I'm doing, or like you don't realize what you're doing, or like don't you know why the world is the way it is. And I feel like they kept like hinting towards like obviously this moment of the big secret being dropped. And I don't know if it was supposed to be more obvious before then, but I'm glad that they clarified or like hammered down today the fact that like Nem's great, like Nem made all this because she hates herself. And whether it needed to be dumbed down a little bit extra for me to get it is fine. But I'm glad I actually have like a solid answer now of this is what they were all hinting to her about or warning people about with her the entire show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that it's like it's not a shocking revelation. Like you like knew all the pieces, but like it's nice to have them really lay it all out on Front Street, right?
Yeah,
which
it definitely
is
helps.
good. Yeah. And I think this is going to be the path for like all the gore nightmare. Like, I think leading up to the end of the show, like everyone's going to have to confront their own demon that is causing the literal demon in front of them, right? Like we've seen it a couple times now so far of like, we saw it with Sieg and stuff too. Like what is the nightmare getting power from and then figuring out how to confront that about yourself. So yeah, it's cool to get to do that again for her, and yeah, I'm certain that will be a component to the big finish as well. And speaking of Sieg, we get the big reveal at the end here that Sieg has returned. Nem makes some comment about like he was right or something along those lines. She references a he. Of course, as soon as she says that, I'm thinking, oh, is she talking about Sieg? And then seconds later, out of nowhere, Sieg pops up to kind of save the day to get between the Oblivion Gore Nightmare and Baku. So he's back, and he seems like he is maybe on the side of good.
It's either the side of good, or it's the side of like I can fuck with Nem, or
Yeah,
like
fair.
like Nem did the Freddy Krueger wish him back into life, and I would assume he's on the better side, considering that her wish was Baku's gonna die. Someone please save him, and Sieg took up that mantle for some reason. So I will assume he's on the right side, or at least like he wants to get the Phantom and them back for all of his bullshit, and that would be like his stopping point of help or whatever you want to call what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I could see it still being very self-serving for sure. Like our goals align, or like I have a soft spot for you, but I'm still gonna get something out of it. Would feel like a very Sieg ending.
Yeah, he can finish helping next week and like get killed again the week after, and
Yep.
wish back to the world that doesn't exist, and everything will be good.
I also really like that he still gets summoned when she thinks about him. I like that that is now consistent. He's like the genie that pops up whenever she makes a wish. Yeah. And yeah, that's our cliffhanger for next episode. So, how'd you feel about the episode overall here today?
I think we got a lot of pieces hammered down that needed to be, at least to like wrap up the main pieces of everything. Um, Obviously, the Sieg would be the last toss up here of which side is he going to go on after he does this thing. But another completely solid episode, good lore building and the dropping and everything. And
Yeah.
at this point, just interested to see how it ends. I guess we're not super close, but we're close enough where just interested to see how it ends.
Yeah, I think that they're gonna have to like really hit the gas next episode to kind of get everything wrapped up and resolved in the final 3 episodes. But this was a really good one for, like you said, like laying some of the groundwork for the story, like making sure you really understand what they're selling you as they kind of go into the end here, and then planting some of those seeds, like the Baku losing touch with reality stuff clearly is going to come up again. So that's nice to get that laid down there after they've shown it to us a couple times. And yeah, Sieg coming back is really awesome. I'm excited to see how they weave him back in and stuff too. It was also an episode like pretty much without the Phantom Gore Nightmare, so she's taking a little bit of a backseat, and obviously will come back in full force to kind of finish things out. So yeah, kind of a little bit of a calm before the storm type episode, but I think overall a really good one again. That solidified a lot of the where things stand, I guess, coming into the end.
Yep.
Let's jump over, Toby, and talk about some emails. We got a few emails this week around. Of course, the email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com if you want to send in emails yourself. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Our first email comes in from Shade. Shade's got some info for us and some case file stuff for us. But first, Shade has a bit of a bone to pick with me, Toby.
Good.
Shade says, before we start things off, I'd like to address Josh's first major L take, as the kids these days would call it. Specifically, I'm talking about Josh's criticism of Baku's quest to find Nem from the previous episode because it was a bit nitpicky, in my opinion. One criticism you had was how Baku's been...
How many people are going to say this to us?
People do not like us being mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, we'll leave it there. It was
Okay.
handled. We'll leave it there. But apparently, our confusion or something last week hit a nerve.
One criticism you had was how Baku's been a bit too secret agent like IRL, and the show's going to address that, so I won't go too deep on it here. Another one of your criticisms was about the way Baku found Nem. was that he didn't do any super secret agent trick in order to find her, and I personally think that would have made the moment feel really cheap, especially since Baku already used one of his Deus Ex Machina cards in the episode already, the whole being resistant to getting erased thing. Instead, the scene we got was a better show of Baku's resolve to me. One of my favorite traits about Baku as a character is his inhuman level of resilience. When faced with a problem that seems unsolvable, Baku has always either materialized a bullshit power-up or brute forced the whole thing with sheer determination. And Baku biking through the entire city to find Nem was another one of those moments for me. It's the amount of effort he put into that really made the moment work, in my opinion. By the way, what we should be nitpicking is how Baku even knows that Nem is still in Tokyo, or even Japan at all. I know there's a Japanese show. I know this is a Japanese show that's filmed in Tokyo, so everyone will inevitably be in Tokyo, Japan. But Code was an international agency, so the lady could have realistically hid Nem anywhere in the world. It just so happens that Nem is in Tokyo, the city where everything takes place. Yeah, I guess the only reason Baku would have even had to assume she was in Japan or in Tokyo was because he would have known the lady would have been tied to Code Japan specifically. But like that's a pretty thin tie. So yeah, that's even sillier that he's riding around a city that he doesn't even really know that she's in. She could be anywhere in the world. I do agree, Shade, with you saying that his resilience and his resolve is his big power, and this was an example of that, certainly. I don't think it makes it any less silly. It can both be good. It can both be like a good thing for his character and like fitting for his character, but it can also just represent sillily in the show. It can be a silly thing that happens, and I think it was a silly thing that happened. I do agree with you on I turned it around on the, secret agent IRL thing, because clearly that's the story that they're telling. So 100% agree on that. But, like I wish there would have been like something slightly more clever than just driving around freaking Tokyo yelling someone's name. Like that feels like something a golden retriever would do, not a human, So I 100% get it. I get what you're saying, but I still think it was a smidge silly. Plus, that was Toby's complaint, not mine. Why am I taking the blame for this?
And now we're never going to talk about this moment again. This one piece of episode 46 where he was screaming in the ether of the imagination world. We are never going to discuss this ever again.
It's like walking around the heavy rain house going, Jason.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think that's exactly what I said.
Shid goes on to say another thing I'd like to mention from last episode. Toby, you talked about Erased being one of the anime you liked. And surprise, surprise, Furukawa Yuki, aka Nox, was in the 2017 Netflix live action adaptation of Erased as the main lead. I know you probably just groaned at the word Netflix adaptation, but this is Netflix Japan we're talking about, so the adaptation doesn't seem awful. It's moderately well received, in fact. Might be worth checking out an episode or two, since this is one of those cases where two of your interests cross paths again.
I groaned more at the fact that they did a live action of anything. More so than that, but yeah, I'm looking now that it's actually a thing. That seems cool. Nox does actually look like a baby Nox. Or the actor looks younger. Josh, I'm going to DM you a picture of him real quick that people can look up themselves. It's loading. There it goes.
Oh yeah, he looks so little.
Yeah, so I think it was live action in 2016. I think maybe.
Yeah, so like 6 or 7 years ago at this point.
That'd be 10, Josh. But thank you.
You're right. That's how math works. Yeah. That is how math works. Yeah, 2017 is what Shade says for that.
Yeah. So I guess if you want to see Nox 10 years younger, who still looks like Nox impressively, watch Erased live action.
He's still got that swoopy hair too that he has in Zeztz. Yeah.
That is tempting to watch. That might be decent, as long as, because like looking at reviews quick, it seems to sound like they follow the actual manga plot and the arc and everything.
That's good.
So maybe I'll give it a chance. I'm very bad about watching stuff, but I will mentally put that to my list on things to watch.
Speaking of Netflix live adaptations, have you ever seen the Death Note one that Netflix did? Because it's terrible.
Right. And that'd be my expectation. When
Yeah.
people say we're making this manga or anime into a live action adaptation, it's almost always on Netflix. And I feel like I've never really heard good things about any of them most of the time. So that gives me the eye roll more than anything else. I
Yeah.
know One Piece seems to be extremely popular for
Yeah.
that crossover.
People like that one. People really, really like that one for some reason.
I guess everyone likes a good pirate movie or TV
I guess
show
so.
or
Yeah. That one it almost feels like people have turned around on because I feel like when it first came out, people were like kind of iffy. And now it feels like it gets like universal praise when I hear people talk about it. So yeah, maybe there's something there. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Shade goes on and says, let's check out the case file for episode number 47. Nox sacrificed himself to get rid of Phantom. Now we're back. He's in a coma once again. Hey, why does Nox get to sleep on the bed, but Nim has to sleep on a sofa? You know what? Yeah, I think it's because he wanted Nem in the safer place. He wanted Nem deep in the command center, and he doesn't really care as much about Nox.
well, he put in I would say order of operations deemed that how it worked. I mean, like he found Nox first and like was like, I'm going to put you in the safe spot and put him in the bed. And at that point, like Nem was in the, like you said, the safer command closet with him. So at that point, like he's not going to put Nem in bed with Nox. I don't think he would pick Nox out of bed and throw him on the floor so Nem had a bed. So I think that checks out.
Speaking of being in a bed together, I've continued watching. Speaking of, we talked about anime last episode. I've continued watching that young ladies don't play fighting games anime, and wow, that is very much like a bait show for the two characters falling in love. I don't know if they do. I'm only on episode 5, but there's a point there where they like have to hide because they're playing video games late at night and they're not supposed to be, and they like duck under the covers and then they're just like face to face. It was like, all right, I see what you're doing here, show. I see what this is. Anyway, Shade goes on and says, thank God the gang's back together again. Speaking of Fujimi and Nazca and Minami and the team. Shade says, I love this show a lot, but even I have to admit all the reset plots are getting quite repetitive. And yes, the zoom in on Fujimi getting kicked in the ass is totally necessary for the plot. I agree.
It was.
Yeah. Minami, they show, has a little cat plushie in bed with her, which is very cute. And then, by the way, Shade says, did you guys notice the effect that was used when Baku used X-Dream to fall into the dream world? They dead ass just took a PNG of Baku mid-fall and shrunk it to make it look like he's falling into the dream world. So yeah, I guess everyone thought that looked a little silly this time around. Next, we got to see an extended scene where Zeztz takes on the Oblivion Nightmare alone. The return to some of the older forms, as we talked about. Now, why is he using these forms instead of Catastrom or Extreme? IDK. But that scene was where Oblivion ripped off Zetz's wings. That was great, Shade says. I agree. Shade says, one thing I really liked about Oblivion as an antagonist here is that he's basically just a much more powerful version of a regular nightmare. I know that sounds weird, but think about it. All the other gore nightmares had some grand scheme they wanted to pull off. Punish wanted to judge the world, Catastrophe wanted to destroy everything, and Phantom wanted to create a world of illusion for Nem. Oblivion, on the other hand, is only interested in bringing one person's greatest nightmare to life and tormenting them with the greatest fears and insecurities. It just so happens that he's doing this by erasing everything from reality, and I think that's really cool.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Indeed. The fight ends with Oblivion erasing most of Baku's arsenal except for Extreme. Everything was looking grim until Nem remembered someone else, and then we got the Sieg reveal. She goes on to share some news and tidbits with us. First off, I'd like to bring up something we hadn't talked about in a while, which is sales figures. Jade says the latest numbers from Zeztz have been super surprising. The show started off a bit mediocre in terms of sales, but it ended up being the most Kamen Rider has ever made in the first quarter for more than a decade. Things like the Mission Twist, Catastrom, and Extreme really turned the show around for Japanese audiences. It's quite a shock to see how the numbers changed like that. It took everyone by surprise when they saw it. So yeah, to give actual numbers here, this is in billions of yen. made 6.3 billion yen in the third quarter, and the fourth quarter it made 6 billion yen, and then now in the first quarter it's made 4.9 billion yen, which puts it roughly in the same vein as recent shows, but just slightly higher. So like point, so 4.9 is what Zeztz made in Q1. Gav made 4.1, Gotchard made 4, Geets made 4.4. So yeah, it is trending a little bit higher than the last few seasons in the same time period.
6.3 billion yen is $40 million. That seems pretty legit.
That does, yeah. So that'd be like the very beginning of the show. All the new toys and stuff just came out. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
I would never. I mean, I would realize that these shows are money printing establishments, but I guess never really thinking about how much money that is kind of crazy. I mean, that's fun
Yeah.
that like, I guess over a season, if we're doing it quarterly, it's like $150 million off the silly TV show with the sleeping guy. So that's great. That's cool.
That is great. Yeah, obviously I think that these are sales figures, so they're not like subtracting costs and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, still that's a pretty big number. And that's cool that it's doing well, because I feel like up till this point, most of what I'd heard is like, Japan hates it. Japan doesn't like the show. So maybe they've turned around on it, it sounds like. Or people in the US are just buying so many Kamen Rider belts, we're making up for the difference.
That's all that matters.
Shade goes on to tell us some of the big news for the week. Kamen Rider Mice's press conference happened, and we got a ton of info about the show. Shade says, I assume everyone has seen the trailers and teasers already, so I won't be covering any of the new story details that were revealed. Instead, I will cover everything besides that. The press conference itself was super fun. They had Mice doing a bunch of cool tricks. They even had Mice tell the people that flash photography isn't allowed, which is a fun bit. They do cast greetings, big cast. They have a big cast for the show. So yeah, there's, I think, way more characters and writers on this show than you might expect. It seems to be based on the Zodiac, which means we might get like 12 plus writers in the show, which is crazy.
I saw they announced the side show already, which I'll assume's like the Minami thing.
Yeah.
But it's called like the 12 Zodiac 10 eggs or some weird 12 and 10 title thing.
I wonder if they'll use that then as like additional backstory for all the characters, right? Like you might not see him too much on the show, but if you want to know more about this random dude, go watch the sideshow.
I would assume if they're going to lean into the, like calling it like 12 Zodiac signs, I'll assume if there's 12 characters, they will at least get one. This is my episode kind of thing.
Yeah. With that many writers, it's going to feel very like Kamen Rider Ryuki like it's gonna feel a bit battle royale-esque, I think. So that'll be
see.
Shade goes on to talk about the belts that they debuted. It seems like they're really leaning into the two styles of drivers in the marketing. The belts have a ton of gimmicks to go along with those two styles. Kamen Rider Mice himself uses a plain mice driver on his chest, while the other riders in the show use a mice driver with an attachment on their waist. Similar to Geets, each of the riders in the show will have their own individual buckles that they can use to transform. If you pay attention to the belt, you'll see that the attachments are actually tools they use to crack open eggs. There's a hammer buckle, a gun buckle, a saw buckle, and whatever that one in the bottom is. Yeah, who can say? So you won't have to buy any new belts. Just the base mice driver and a bunch of buckles will get you most of the riders' belts. What I find really interesting about the storyline is that the chest version and the waist version of the belt use completely different mechanisms to crack open the egg, and as a result, the egg will crack open into different things. It's not just the show, even the toy line showcases the duality theme they got going on. I don't know if this will play into the story or not, but each of the eggs contain two animals inside them, and they're both animals that are opposites of each other. For the sake of potential spoilers, I'm only showing this one in the image, which I won't even explain what it is. But Shade says when used in different styles of the belt, the egg will open different animals depending on which style you're using. The chest belt gets one thing, and the waist gets another. So yeah, I guess this example we know about. So the chest belt gets a mouse, which is mice, And then the waist belt gets the cat, which is Mao. So we've seen those in the trailers. It looks like all the other eggs work like this too. It's cool to see the show's core theme get reflected this much in the toy themselves. These designs are awesome. I don't know if you guys have seen the full visuals for the other riders in the show yet, but they look super colorful and unique in a good way. Some of the gimmicks are very similar to Geats, probably because both shows were produced by the same person, but I think this looks a bit better in my opinion. Yeah, the split gimmick of the toys of the eggs is very cool. That is pretty neat that they have two different ways that they can open and two different things they can reveal.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I would have found that awesome as a kid. Shade says, now we get the biggest news of the press conference leading up to the press con. Almost every single major person in the production team had been revealed except for one, the writer. And they saved that one for last. It is Naruhisha Arakawa, who is the scriptwriter for Mice. Shade says you guys might not know who it is, but he's a big deal. He wrote for Kuga, which we've talked about. He wrote Gokaiger, which is often regarded as one of the best Sentai of all time. He was involved in almost every Sentai since the 90s, and he was the writer for Deca Ranger, which Shade says is his favorite Sentai. He wrote two of the only Kamen Rider and Sentai series that won a Seiyun Award for Dramatic Presentation, which is Kuga and Deca Ranger. And emphasis on the one, by the way, Toei's tokusatsu don't even get nominated a lot of the time. Imagine being the guy who wrote the only two Toei Toku series to win an award. So yeah, big deal. Just to be frank with you guys, I have absolutely no doubt that Mice is going to be good. His shows are, at the very bare minimum, very fun to watch, and at best, they're timeless masterpieces that won't be forgotten in the near future. He understands the very cores of what makes Kamen Rider special, and Sentai by extent too, and I'm super excited to see the man who helped kickstart a new era of Rider have another go at the franchise once again. By the way, side note, but I just looked up his regular Wikipedia page and found out that most of his recent scriptwriting credits are mostly for screenplay adaptations of rom-com anime. He truly is a man of culture. And yeah, Shade talks about that an email he sent us last week about Gavan Infinity. I did get that, Shade, and we will probably cover portions of it when we finish up Gavan. We're still working through the end of that. Moving on from there, so we've got a couple more emails. Next email comes in from Chris. Chris is writing in, says back at it with another email for both of you. And I have to say, I was very surprised to hear you guys' reaction last week. While I considered the episode pretty good, I found that you and Toby's comments about the episode not being great were a bit of a surprise. This is not the first time that's happened over the course of listening to your podcast. I've noticed that a lot of my opinions differ, and yours differ. Obviously, art is subjective, and not everyone likes the same thing. For example, you guys absolutely hated the episode of Gotchard with Kamen Rider Legend. Meanwhile, Legend was my absolute favorite part of Gotchard.
Oh, no.
Similarly, I found you guys praising episodes that I absolutely do not like, while you both criticize episodes I'm a huge fan of. None of this is criticism. It simply is an observation that I have. I will, however, say that I find it hilarious that you both talked about wanting to go through the Gundam franchise last week, because I am also doing the same. I've watched many different Gundam series in bits and chunks, and there was only one that I had watched in its entirety, which was Mobile Fighter G Gundam. I have already watched G Gundam, Gundam Wing, and Gundam F91. 1991 was supposed to be a series, but it turned into a film. I feel like with Kamen Rider, you guys will enjoy it just as much, or I guess I could be wrong. That's all for now. Hope to talk to you again sometime. Your friend, Chris. Yeah, Chris, I think people having different takes on the same show is part of what makes it really interesting. And sometimes Toby and I disagree on shows, and it's fun to talk those things out. So yeah, I mean, I like I as a good example, I watch and listen to a lot of Jeff Gersman stuff talking about video games, and I have for years since his time at Giant Bomb. And Jeff and I disagree about a lot of video game things, but I still think he's really, really interesting to listen to and hear his thoughts on games. And even if I don't end up liking the same games he likes all the time, he comes at them very thoughtfully, and it's still an interesting thing to hear. So yeah, hopefully we can always at least meet that bar that, you know, you might not agree with us, but maybe at least we're interesting.
That's what I lean for. I would assume most people aren't going to agree with me. As long as they
Just
make you, as long as they maybe made you laugh with like making a McDonald's blender story along the way. That's really the bar I'm setting for myself.
see, it felt like today you were going for gasps. And I agree, Chris. G Gundam, good one to start with. That's a fun show. I like that show a lot. But yes, enjoy your Gundam journey, and Godspeed on seeing all of them. I actually have no idea how long that will actually take a person. I don't really have a good concept of how many different Gundam series there are, but I know there's a ton.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I feel like I looked, there was like 10, and that would have been years ago this time.
Oh yeah, I think
Uh,
it's ballooned since then.
the shitty AI overview says that there's 18 to 20 main TV series alongside like 50 OVAs, like extra online only animation episodes, whatever else.
So you got your work cut out for you if you dive into this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good project. It seems like a fun project.
Yeah.
Maybe you can learn where the Gundam that everyone knows is from, the one that's like white, blue, and red. That I feel like is like the main Gundam that everyone uses for Gundam Wing
The
as a
RX
thing.
79.
Is that sure?
Yep.
That thing, and then the green. I guess it's a bad one, but
The
I
Zaku.
it's what I always call the Gavon monster
Yeah, the Gavon
comparison.
monster is very Zaku like. I agree. Yeah.
Those are the two Gundams I know, and the best I can do is explain them by colors and looks and nothing else.
But there is something like that Gundam, that like RX 79 red and blue and white Gundam is just iconic. Like one of the best designs of anything ever. Not just like robots, not just things in anime. Just like overall things designed. It is high on the list for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a classic. That's the one that stands out to me, knowing nothing.
Yeah.
Apparently, it takes like 450 hours to watch all of Gundam.
Okay. That's actually a lower number than I would have expected, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's a fun undertaking. So
Yeah,
yes, very good luck, Chris, and let us know your thoughts when you finish it all. I'd like to hear how you came out of it. And Toby, our last email for today comes in from Adebayo. Adebayo says, "Hey Toby, how's it going, Toby and Josh? I hope you guys are having a good one this week, and I hope you like my questions. Question number 1. To follow up my questions from last week, how would you rank the tertiary writers from the shows you've watched on the pod?" So I've pulled up a list here of tertiary writers for us, just so we're all on the same page, Toby. So we have watched Geats, and in Geats we had Kamen Rider Nago. Neon was the tertiary writer in that show.
I don't know how they picked it. Sure.
I'm just reading the list. Just telling you what the Kamen Rider fandom wiki show tells us.
All right, fair.
The next one is Kamen Rider Valvarad from Gotchard. And then we have Vram Rakia from Gav. And then, of course, now in Zeztz, we have Kamen Rider Dawn. Sieg is the tertiary writer. So of Nago, Valvarad, Vram, and Dawn, who's your favorite?
I think Rakia and Sieg would be at the top for different levels of personality things. And Neon had a chance at a good run, but she got the Nomura edit where eventually she was just dumb girl who's there with
Yeah.
no story or character. So she got done dirty. And then Valvarad was okay.
I think I agree with you pretty much across the board. Like Neon, I think early Neon in the show, I think I loved the most of all these characters. But yeah, ultimately her arc wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. And she did get like girl is only interested in girl things for a while, which is a real bummer for her as a character.
At some point, her whole story arc was, do I have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
And then her ending of most of it was like, hey, I have a boyfriend, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
What is it? Is it the Bechdel test where it's like a test whether a movie has like two women conversing where they aren't talking about a man? Is that, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like this doesn't pass the Bechdel test, where she becomes so focused on having her dream boyfriend. But overall, I did really like her as a character. Still, I think she's still really strong. And really, looking at these four, is like we got some real banger tertiary writers in these seasons. Like, I think Spanner in Valvarad was really fun. That whole series, he had some awesome moments like when he finally becomes like a real Kamen writer for the first time was so hype. Um, I think Rakia is just an awesome character. Like even outside of the suit, I think he's really cool. And Sieg like is the Joker. Who doesn't love the Joker, right? So yeah,
Rakia almost did like the Nox arc, just in a different way.
yeah. I guess you're right. He did right. He started out as kind of a bad guy, anti-hero for a little while. Comes over to the good side, becomes best buds.
Took one for the team, died in the doors
Yep.
until they course corrected that just to fix it. They basically did like his own sacrifice to give the hero the best chance possible, much like Nox is doing now.
He does soften up a lot quicker than Nox does, though.
Yeah.
Like, he starts out a little, like starts out bad, but like he becomes buddy a lot quicker.
That's true.
But yeah, overall I think a really good set of tertiary writers there. Adebayo goes on and says, question number 2, do you think that school makes kids hate reading? I think being forced to do something makes kids hate whatever it is they're forced to do. And school often forces you to do reading. So yeah, it ends up being a thing that kids hate because of that.
Is that what my problem is? I went to school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It honestly, like jokes aside, it did take me years to like discover that reading is fun to do on my own, like as a hobby. Like I always read comic books, but like reading anything outside of comics for fun, I didn't do a ton of for a lot of years after high school because like reading in high school sucked so much. I don't know, I wasn't mature enough for it yet. They assigned too much and it was a lot of stuff that wasn't super interesting to me. So it just felt like a slog and I didn't think that I liked reading for a long time until finally I discovered that I just have to read things that are actually enjoyable for my, age. And that's what does it.
I think school just fucked me up from wanting to learn things in like a school presented way. But all my reading jokes aside, I don't know when that fell apart, but I always enjoyed reading separate from the school thing. But I just don't like
All
school.
throughout school you did?
I don't know if I did it during school, but like in college, I definitely read a shitload of books I just wanted to read, and that was no longer school driven.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I do think in general, I think that like obviously we can't do this because like you have to get on with your life, but like if we could somehow magically have all schooling shifted like 10 years into the future and like, you could go through high school 10 years past when you would normally go through it and same with college, I think we'd get so much more out of school because like you're just not mature enough in high school sometimes to like recognize the value. So you end up just like not doing things or skirting things that would give you a lot of value and you'd get a lot out of it, but it just all sounds like a slog to you because you're not mature enough to realize the value. And even some into college, like I definitely felt that way. And thinking back now, I have lots of regrets of like, man, I wish I would have like cared more about that subject and like dove more into it because it's interesting to me now. And I like, I had a class where I was with an expert in this subject every day for an hour and I didn't take advantage of it. So yeah, I think it's a bummer that school happens at the ages that it does because I think people appreciate it much later in life for sure.
This is one of the few. I'm going to disagree with Josh to make everybody happy. I think the later I've gone in life, the more school seems like the worst thing I could possibly do with my time ever. And
Fair enough.
School was a slog for me. I would say starting in high school, it was more of a slog for me in college, where I would never want to go back and try to relearn something that I didn't really learn in college because I didn't want to be there. And I think if you pushed it back 10 years and like this year now you're like, hey, dipshit, it's time for you to go to college, I probably wouldn't even go. me and organized schooling. It just we don't get along. My brain is not built in that way, and I don't know why. And there's probably some sort of like actual learning disability that I'm avoiding. But me and school have never actually gotten along most of my life. Once I would say my brain was formed, and I don't know what that is, but it doesn't work.
I love the idea that you're like the education version of Benjamin Button. You're just just going in reverse.
Yeah, basically. Like one time for work, so if you do like, I'm sure it's for a lot of different things, but I know IT things, like a lot of jobs and promotions or like perks you can get in jobs is by getting certifications. And there's certifications for like everything that you can get, just of like, oh, I know networking so very good. Look at me. And you put fancy letters behind your name and emails. And then you can be like, look, I have a CST certification. And then people are like, wow, you're so valuable, blah, blah, blah. I had a job pay for me to go to a week of school. Certification courses used to be like $4,000 or $5,000 for a week. And then you get like a certification test at the end. They paid $5,000 or somewhere in there for me to go to school for a week. I went 4 of the 5 days. So I just completely skipped the last day. A certification test is actually like the most expensive part. It was just like, hey, the schooling is kind of like the free gift, but this is so you pass your expensive test. I don't even think I took the test at the end because I was like, I'm so fucking aggravated with this and having to do school again that I just completely like let the whole thing go and let work just pay for nothing for me.
That's amazing. In contrast, a year or two ago, probably, I had to go to a training for work, and it was awesome, and I learned so much, and it made me realize, like, man, I wish I could go back and take other classes at this point too in my life. And yeah, so I guess I'm the opposite on that front.
It sure sounds like it.
Well, Adebayo says those are all my questions. Hope you guys have a good one and make the most of the last few weeks of summer. P.S. I honestly believe that everyone should check out a bad anime like Chargeman Ken or Twinkle Star Nora, because if you only seek out the best of the best, you will never understand what the bottom of the bottom looks like.
That's actually a good idea. So yeah, I'm gonna back that idea and say like go to like my anime list, or if there's a smarter site people use now to get like rankings and reviews of animes. I guess like go to one of whatever your favorite site is and find like the worst reviewed show and just watch like 2 or 3 episodes. That seems like a fun project.
That's good. I think if you're getting into wrestling before you're allowed to watch an AEW pay-per-view, you have to go back and watch a Raw episode from the anonymous GM era. You got to really experience the bottom before you experience the top, you know?
Yeah, no reason not to.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that opinion overall, but it's certainly there's something to be said for, you know, suffering for good art. there might be something true there for sure. And that is going to wrap us up for emails for this week. So once again, thanks to Shade, Chris, and Adebayo for the emails this week. If you would like to be like them and send emails in, you can do so at cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Toby, people can also subscribe to us via Patreon. We love having that as an option. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that at. $3 a month gets you access to the full offerings from the Patreon, where we watch a bunch of other tokusatsu stuff. You get to watch it along with us and hear our thoughts along as we go. And right now we're watching Live Man. We are finishing up Gavon Infinity and probably getting ready to start in on Omega Horn at some point. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, you want to watch those shows along with us, the Patreon is where you can find that stuff at patreon.com/thecommentwriters. You can also get access to the Discord. You can chat with us all week long. You get additional videos. Toby's playing games for the Toby Toku fan club, game club, excuse me.
Yeah, get it right.
Game club. Yep. Got my acronym wrong. And so check that whole business out. You can also follow the Patreon for free, and we have some free episodes up there as well for you to give a little sample taste before you sign up for reels. And of course, we do want to analyze your dreams. We're getting close to the end of Zeztz here, so if you have a dream that you want Toby and I to analyze live on the air, now that we are extremely qualified to analyze dreams, send those in via email or shoot me a message on Discord, and I will collect them. All right, Toby, that's going to wrap it up for us. So why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's Life of Tobes. On YouTube, it's Tobes Plays. And on my anime list, you can find me watching X-Arm, which seems to be the lowest rated full series that's rated on my anime list, coming in at a strong 2.86 stars out of 10, ranked by like 45,000 people.
Well, there you go. Go watch some bad anime this week. In our name. This X-Arm looks like someone saw some images from Ghost in the Shell and was like, that's good enough. I know enough to make this again.
I'm going to recommend X-Arm, Lady Spo, or Abunai Sisters, Coco and Mika. They are all the worst full series listed by user rankings on my anime list. So any of those three are acceptable answers of what to watch.
There's apparently a character in X-Arm named Eat Man.
Oh yeah, the freaking the guy who makes Metal Gear Solid games made it. I can't think of his name right now.
Kojima.
Yeah, so it sounds like a real Kojima name.
It absolutely does, 100%. For me, you can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol, and you can follow the show on Blue Sky at commonwritersucks.com. So we do hope you check all that out. And we hope you join us back here next time to talk about episode 48. We've only got 3 more episodes of Zeztz left to go. So definitely keep up with us at least to the end of Zeztz. We got to finish this out strong. But in the meantime, we hope you all have a great week. Peace, everybody.